4 in 10 people believe in ghosts. Over a third of people believe intelligent life exists outside of Earth. 43% of people believe demons exist. There are unexplained phenomena happening daily around the globe, and we are here to talk about it. Your portal into UFOs, paranormal, cryptids, the supernatural, the mysterious, the unknown. I see you. This is Beyond the Radar, and this is your host, Humanoid Tom Conway.
Welcome back, everybody, to another wonderful episode of Beyond the Radar, your paranormal news program. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 in New Orleans. Catch us also on the Facebook and YouTube page, as well as Beyond the Radar's Facebook and YouTube page. We are also on Roku TV, and check out our archives there, or subscribe to Beyond the Radar's podcast on Spotify for past shows. We have a wonderful episode for you today. We're going to get into a little topic here. Hold on one second. Excuse me. We're going to get into a little topic here of sleep paralysis. And then we're going to continue our Summer of Species with the Men in Black. And I know that's a big topic. So we're going to try to condense as much as we can into all of that wonderful information about the Men in Black. Because, well, there's some cool evidence out there that suggests these aren't our own people coming and, bullying, for lack of a better word, our own people into saying you didn't see what you saw. So really cool information with that. Really wonderful stuff. We had a guest scheduled, but they're not going to be able to make it. But luckily, we have a wonderful intern, an amazing musician, somebody who is really fascinating, and somebody who, well, deserves your attention. She's a wonderful person. She's very knowledgeable and very smart and skilled. And her name is Nicole. And so I'm going to bring her on now before we jump into sleep paralysis, because this is something that where we want to talk about with you guys. So Nicole, thank you so much. Welcome to Beyond the Radar.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi. So just so everybody knows, you started over the summer as an intern for us here at Beyond the Radar and also on Chasing Prophecy. I guess I'll hold you to it. What do you think of media in this format?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I was the kind of person who, like, I knew podcasts existed like prior to this summer, but I never listened to them. And ever since like getting involved with Beyond the Radar and Chasing Prophecy, it's something that like has really piqued my interest. Like I would definitely like love to continue like even beyond this internship with like working on this kind of stuff. I think it's really fun. And I don't know. I think I always had written it off before as just like people with microphones saying things, but like, yeah, it's just, I think it's really cool. So.
Well, that's excellent. And a lot of it is just people with microphones saying things. So, that's always something that we love and is very interesting. But, I think on a more macro level, media is changing. Years ago, you had to be on television or the radio, over the airwaves radio, to have any kind of impact. And now, there are some things that are worse, but mostly for the better. People can express their opinions, have other people on, and just put more content out there. We are content lovers in the United States. So whatever content is out there, we want to see it. We want to do and have about. But you've been so wonderful, so great, amazing work ethic, and definitely somebody who we would want to have on Beyond the Radar for a long time. So enough of that gooey stuff. Let's get into the stuff that everybody wants to talk about. And sleep paralysis. So, Nicole, I forget if I asked you, but if not, if I did or whatever, we'll just go over it again. Have you ever heard of sleep paralysis or have experienced it?
I know what it is. I have never experienced it because I don't really have dreams. So,
I
like,
understand.
I'm
No,
out.
you're not the first person who's told me that. I know some people who say, "I just don't dream. I don't dream.
Yeah,
You know, I
I
I
don't.
don't have dreams."
I get it, like, maybe, like, once a month, and then besides that, it's, like, nothing. Like, it's not there's nothing interesting happening to me at night, I swear.
Well, that I can relate to personally because my dreams are like waiting in line at a bank or get like a hot dog from like a vendor or something. It's not like, you know, who are these people with these, J.R.R. Tolkien-esque fantasy dreams that I
Yeah.
hear so much about? But, you know, me, nope. I'm waiting in line at a bank. I'm washing the car. I'm like vacuuming. I'm not doing anything fun at all
Yeah.
whatsoever. Well, sleep paralysis is not really a dream. Um, I have experienced it, and I guess before we get into that, I should just go into the base definition of what it is. So, sleep paralysis is a state during waking up or falling asleep. I've had it more on the falling asleep side, but I have had both, in which a person is conscious but in a complete state of full body paralysis. During an episode, a person may hallucinate, hear or feel or see things that aren't there, which often result in fear. Yep. Episodes generally last no more than a few minutes. It can reoccur or recur multiple times or one single episode. The condition may occur in those who are otherwise healthy or those with narcolepsy, or it may run in the family as a result of specific genetic changes. The condition can't be triggered or can be triggered by sleep deprivation, psychological stress, or abnormal sleep patterns. The underlying mechanism is believed to have involved dysfunction of the REM sleep. Diagnosis is based on a person's description. Other conditions that can present similarly include narcolepsy, atonic seizure, and hypokalemic periodic paralysis. That's a tough one. Treatment occurs for sleep paralysis have been poorly studied. It is recommended that people be reassured that that the conditions is common and generally not serious. Other efforts may be tried to include sleep hygiene, CBT or cognitive behavioral therapy, and antidepressants. Between 8 and 50% of people experience sleep paralysis at some point in their life. About 5% of people have regular episodes, males and females about equally. Sleep paralysis has been described throughout history and is believed to have played a role in the creation stories of alien abduction and other paranormal events. So that's basically, a one stop shop for the, what it is. You know what I mean? What it is, what it does, all of that. Um, I can tell you, well, a little bit in there, I did how it affected me. So I've had them at different periods throughout my life, and luckily for me, I'm not a regular person. I've had it about 3 times, but I'm 36. It was, there are years in between, but they're still scary nonetheless. And the fear is what I want to touch on, Nicole, because
Yep.
it was an overwhelming sense of either impending doom or I was going to die.
Mhm.
Like how I felt inside, and I had to fight to get awake or move. And so for me, it was I was laying down and I can't open my eyes. So just have your eyes closed and you think about later, just have your eyes closed. And even though you're trying to open them, they won't open. Furthermore, on the more paranormal side of this, because there are two sides, some think it's clinical, some think it's paranormal.
Yep.
The paranormal side of this, I swear on everything that I own that I felt an impression on the bed next to me. So somebody like pushing
Mhm.
down the bed next to you, you know what I mean? Like it was right by
Yep.
the shoulder. So, if somebody sits on the edge of the bed, you know it. It felt like that. And I heard like breathing or groaning, like, like that. I couldn't open my eyes. And even if I wanted to, I don't think I would. But, I could not open my eyes at that point. And I felt that even to the breath, like on you, you know what I mean? Like the little air,
Mhm.
I felt that was something that will always stick with me, will always be there because I can't explain what that was. And eventually, just with like a, "Ugh," you know what I mean? I was
Yeah.
woke and all of that. But I couldn't move. I couldn't say a word. I couldn't do anything. So, in my experience, that was the latest one. That happened at least 5-6 years ago because
Mhm.
it was still in my other home. So, it was at least 5 or 6 years ago. However, um, before that was one that I did have my eyes open, and what I saw didn't make any sense. I saw where just my head and my neck were on the pillow, but my body was straight up in the air, stiff. And it was mind blowing. It was terrifying. I couldn't move. And then all of a sudden, I just woke up like it was a dream. Could it have been a dream? Absolutely. I'm not going to sit here and say anything's 100%. But I've had both ends of that, the open eyes and closed eyes.
Mhm.
The one thing I haven't had is what many other people suggest. And what many other people suggest is or what other people think is this is either an alien abduction where you are physically can't move and you think you've been there the whole time just struggling to open your eyes, but really you've been taken out and put back in. Not so much me, because there's too many things that were the same. You know what I mean? If I was carried out of bed and, you would think who else is with you in the house would have seen that, would have woken up, whatever it might be. Not so much, but people can believe what they want. The other one is some believe it's a demon. It's a sleep demon, and that goes by the name of the Hat Man. And the
Yep,
Hat Man
I've
has been
heard of the Hat
reported.
Man.
Yeah, the Hat Man has been reported all over, probably 2 or 3 times as much as sleep paralysis. So the Hat Man has been lumped in like a hallucinatory category where maybe people who are sick, people who have had fevers, people, whatever it was, that they've seen the Hat Man. There are many, many, many people who have sleep paralysis who believe they saw the Hat Man. So,
Yeah.
that's my little spiel about it. So for you who hasn't experienced it, let's start first with what do you think you would do?
Um, that's a very good question. I don't really know. I guess probably same as everyone else and just try to like wake up, you know? Like I clearly it's like a miscommunication between the brain and the body.
Mhm.
Um, but like, eventually something's got to give, right? Either way.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the clinical side of it. That's the clinical side. If you want to take a scientific way, they're saying that there's the handoff wasn't smooth between going into REM sleep where you are paralyzed and but you can't feel. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's a self-preservation method so that when you have dream. Now other people don't, but I've seen people wild in dreams, but some
Yep.
people, more often than not, your body in REM has a self-preservation method, which is I'm not going to act on the dreams I might be having, and if I punch somebody, I'm flailing. You know what I mean? So they keep you paralyzed a bit.
Yep.
Some believe it's not the a clean handoff between falling asleep and then hitting REM, where it didn't line up right. You're conscious and you're also in REM sleep.
Yep.
But if that were the case, that certainly means that maybe a dream can come through where I was having a nightmare rather than a dream. You know what I mean? And something like that happened. Other people say that it happens more often than that which would, 50%. Wow. But still,
Yeah,
8 to
that's a lot.
50%. That's a lot. So 8 to 50%, they think you have it more often than not, but you just don't remember it. Like the
Yep.
handoff wasn't great, but you still were able to get to sleep. You know what I mean? You weren't conscious.
Mhm.
But yeah, that I wanted to go back to that 8 to 50 because that seems kind of high.
Yeah. But I mean, like if people aren't remembering it, that could, very well explain a lot of it.
Well, yeah, you know, and one thing I caution with is that people shouldn't just try to throw drugs at it. You know what I mean? Try to throw
Yeah.
medication at the problem, because if you don't understand what it is, how are you ever going to give somebody a honest
Yeah,
pill?
an
You
honest
know
like
what I mean?
diagnosis. And I know even like I'm pretty sure like the brain in general and sleep in general is like one of the most like not understudied but not understood practices in medicine. So to just start throwing things at it, and especially because I've heard stories of going back to like the Hat Man thing. I've heard
Yeah.
of people seeing the Hat Man just from being on certain like antidepressants or other medications and trying to
Oh yeah.
sleep and getting hit with like the hallucinations and the Hat Man. So
People that have drank too much, people that have used recreational drugs, people that have used higher than normal amounts of like cough medicine,
yep.
like different things can do that. One thing that's ironic though is, why are they all seeing the same general figure?
Yeah.
That's kind of
That
weird.
one,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a little suspicious, but
Yeah.
um
I
yeah.
mean, the myth of the Hat Man, and it has to be like the old school like cowboy hat too, like the bounty
Yeah,
hunters
with
from
like
the
the wide
afternoon.
brim.
Yeah, yeah.
But I feel like
Yeah.
also just like in terms of the Hat Man in general, it might just be, people's subconscious giving them what they're expecting to see, especially if they're already aware of the Hat Man existing. If their brain decides to hallucinate something, it's going to pick the Hat Man. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's true. It could go a lot scarier. It could come
definitely.
with
But
horns, it could come with like
yeah, like it could pick like anything, but
Yeah.
obviously like Occam's razor, it's going to pick like whatever's the scariest and whatever is probably the most like they've seen most often like in their waking like vision. So
Yeah. Or maybe like the Grim Reaper got a new style and he ditched the
yeah.
cloak and the scythe, and he wanted to go with something more modern. Now keep in mind, if you're millennium years old, more modern could be a cowboy hat and still be old to us. So who knows?
Yeah.
But despite the fashion sense of this hallucinatory oddity, um, I have to think, and you're right. Let me get back to your point first. You're right about, we don't know anything really about sleep. We don't know what happens. We can't define consciousness at all. We don't know. Um, we know why we need it. We think, and
Yeah.
then I hear all of these things like, okay, it's for your body to recoup, heal, and relax and recharge for the next day, which is, that makes sense on the outside. You think about it. Then you get into like the more esoteric definitions of it when you talk to psychics and mediums and things like that, where it's the only way we need to access get out of the 3D space and into a coexistence 4D state with everything else, because we can't solely live or survive down here without it. And that's their theory of why you die, because you go without water for 3 days, you're dead. Sleep is pretty close to that. It's almost as important
Yep.
as water. If you
Yeah.
don't sleep for a few days, you're dead. It's not debatable. So maybe that has something to do with it. But anything that we really don't fully understand, and the older I get, the more it's like, wow, we really don't understand a lot about a lot. But I digress. But the older the more we don't know, the scarier it is, because that's just how our bodies have adapted over time, and that's what fear is. And getting on a soapbox here, I think sadly, fear instead of love is the most dominant emotion on this planet.
Definitely. Yep. Yeah, you
So
can see it like all over, even just in like the day to day. So, yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
but fear does an amazing thing, because we project fear into our own insecurities. We'll take this one scary thing, and you'll take it a different way. I'll take it a different way. This other person will take it a different way. This other person will take it a different way. Some go internal, some get mad and go external. It's
Yep.
just how we react to this different stimuli. And I guess it makes sense because we're all different on this planet. Um, we all have different upbringings. We all have different um, material basically in us. I mean, how many 23andMe's do you need to see that, wow, nobody's actually the same as everybody else? We can look at that from all different vantage points. But, I think when we have that fear, we are going to internalize it and have it come out sideways. And sleep paralysis, of course, before technology, back in the day, if this is a human affliction, right? And how long have humans been around? You're going to go, if you can't understand it, you're going to go to something that just makes sense. And until very recently with science, that paranormal way made sense to a lot of people.
Yep.
Some of it still makes sense because we can't get everything there when it comes to it. But so have you heard of any like family members? Is it something you guys don't talk about? Have you had any friends that said they might have dealt with this, or you haven't really heard anybody?
I honestly, off the top of my head, like I'm sure I've talked about sleep paralysis with like my friends before.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember that anyone has said that they've experienced it. I do know people I knew people at one point in my life who were very good at lucid dreaming, which is kind of related, but definitely not the same thing.
It's like a cousin, I would say.
Yeah.
If I had to. So lucid, there's like there's a few tutorials, I believe, on like YouTube and other apps as well that try to get you if you listen to it while falling asleep. Have you tried any of them? Or
I have tried them. They have not worked.
No?
I'm just out like a light. There's nothing going on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it might have failed, but it failed positively. It still puts you to
Yeah.
sleep.
I know. At least I wasn't like having nightmares or something, but
Yeah. No Hat Man with lucid dreaming.
no.
But I often wondered about those because, as much as I want to believe in that, Nicole, as much as I want to say like, oh, there's tutorials and things like that, being in IT, being around this a lot, I'm like, but my voice has to be transcoded and put through a speaker, flipped around to somebody else's output speaker, and then played to them. I would imagine if you can talk somebody into lucid dreaming, there has to be that energetic, physical, face-to-face connection.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would work electronically.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can speak to in terms of electronic things, and like those kinds of like hypnosis, I know at one point my friends and I did attempt like one of those like YouTube hypnosis things.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my friends had a very terrifying experience with it. So
Really?
at
What
least
happened?
for him, it worked. I don't remember the exact details, but I think he like completely blacked out the entire thing. And we were all talking about it afterwards, and he was like, I don't remember any of this. And it was very weird because we were all in the same room, like doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what happened there, if he just like fell asleep, but he didn't seem to be asleep the entire time. So it was very weird.
Well, I mean, in terms of hypnosis, there is a belief that only a certain percentage can even be hypnotized.
Yep.
And it would stand up to reason that maybe you and whoever else, you guys couldn't get there in that setting, and he could. So I do know from people who have been successfully hypnotized is it is a blacking out. It's not, I remember all of it. It's more of I'm like catatonic and answering questions. And then afterward, they don't remember anything about what they just said. Specifically, like Betty and Barney Hill, the alien abduction or that went through hypnosis and recounted all of their tales. And then Travis Walton from Arizona, Snowflake Abduction, Fire in the Sky movie. Great movie. Definitely watch it, because it's, when you watch it and if you see the documentary, they did a good job of like, how sometimes they might make it too fanatical, and now they did a good job with it. But that's another one where they go under hypnosis, and when they come out, they were like, so tell me about being on the metal table or something. And they're like, what are you talking about? And they still don't know because their mind was wiped from, the event.
Yep.
And then the hypnosis, they didn't remember what they were saying. So definitely, that stands to reason. Maybe he did get it.
Yeah, he might have, because I mean, we were all in the same room, like I've never like seen like an actual like hypnotist like doing their thing like in front of live people. So I've never had the chance to ask
Yeah.
anyone if they remember it or if it was all just like play along for the audience kind of thing. But yeah, definitely it could be a possibility.
You see, so here's one. Have you heard of past life regression hypnosis?
Yeah, that is what we did.
That is what you did.
That is what it was through like a YouTube video at the time.
Okay.
It was a lot of people saying, "Oh, this worked for me," like that kind of thing. But my friend and I, or me and one of my friends, like we were, I guess, conscious the whole time, remembering everything that occurred during the like regression. And my other friend was the one who blacked out and didn't remember anything at all.
Okay. The reason why I asked that would be that might be the only type of hypnosis I would try to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I can remember anything about a past life, then cycles exist. You know what I mean? Soul cycles and soul groups and all of that. But then I'm like, do I want to know that answer? It's almost like if you walk in and there's like a notebook and it says, this is the day you're going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Would you look at it or no? It's almost like that. I probably would look at it. What about you?
Yeah. I mean, I did the regression thing like a while ago, so I guess the answer is yes.
I meant like, would you look at the book that has your, when you're going to die on it?
I mean, probably. I'm the kind of person where like I'm still kind of skeptical, so I'll at least look so I'll know if it comes true and be like, yes.
Yeah.
They were correct.
Yeah. What if you like looked at it and it said like 3 days ago?
Well,
you're like, all right, well,
then I would have a bone to pick with somebody because like either I'm dead or you're wrong. So
yeah. Well, either way, it's a win-win.
I know, yeah.
You're like, I'm just gonna walk out here and not have to worry about bills. Screw it. No, but that's fascinating. But no, sleep paralysis. I felt it. I can say what I felt is real. I don't know the science behind it, but whether it was a medical thing or a paranormal thing, I can only talk about what I felt, and I felt fear, I felt dread, I felt scared, and I felt like if I don't keep fighting, I'm going to die.
Yep. Which, I mean, from what I was reading about like that kind of response, especially like, if your brain realizes like, uh-oh, something's wrong, like, why are we still conscious and the body's not moving? That it would send you into like a fight or flight state, which would just typically just be like absolute fear and panic, which could be an explanation for that from like a scientific perspective.
It absolutely could. It absolutely could, because a lot of people that wake up, they're sweaty, so adrenaline. They're out of breath, so adrenaline. They're manic or hyper or panic, adrenaline. So no, there's it stands to reason all of that. And we're here to talk about it. I don't think we're here to make a definitive proof, but everybody listening, please, if you have anything, comment, question, whatever you want. Nicole, I know you have to go, but thank you so much for hopping on and joining.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Truly appreciate it. And I know you're a singer, so now everybody knows you're a singer.
Great.
So Louisiana, no, it's wonderful. You're a wonderful singer. New Orleans, Gulf Coast, please. Nicole's a wonderful singer, has an album out. Go ahead and promote it. Talk about it. Tell everyone they can get it.
So my album is called Demonology. It's not anything satanic, but it's on like all the major streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, Bandcamp, all the good stuff. And my full artist name is Nicole Costa. So feel free to look me up on anything if you would like to.
What's the website?
Oh, and my website is Nicosta, so that's nicosta.wixsite.com/music. And you can also find me on like all social medias. I'm just at Nicosta_music.
Wonderful. I've listened to her song. I've listened to a couple songs on there. You have an amazing talent.
Thank you.
I love the direction behind the music video as well. Let me know when you want to do another one. I'll direct it.
Thank you. Yeah, I might take you up on it, but
Hey,
I mean, like I made that music video with my friend who lives in Massachusetts, and she's actually coming down this weekend because we're taking photos for another project. But she's like a huge film person, and we're always, every time I have an idea, I'm like, hey, do you want to do this?
yeah.
So we filmed it like in a weekend in a real historical cemetery near my house. And then we
I was going
visited.
to ask you about that because I saw the background and I was like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, that was a real historical cemetery. I don't want to say which one because it's
sure.
like right next to my house. I don't want to like dox myself. But yeah, we did not ask permission. We just showed up and then I left offerings afterwards.
Well, that's good. That's
yeah.
good. You're appeasing somebody.
Yeah, I was like, I don't care what the town has to say. I do care what the spirits have to say.
Yes.
Don't
Yes,
want to make them mad. So
no,
yeah.
that's wonderful. And yeah, we look for many more projects with you. And please hop on any other time when you want to talk about some cool stuff. All right.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. So thank you, Nicole. And we're going to go to a quick commercial break. And then on the flip side, we will talk about Men in Black. So see you, everyone.
Four in 10 people believe in ghosts. Over a third of people believe intelligent life exists outside of Earth. 43% of you believe demons exist. We invite you to Beyond the Radar, your paranormal news show. If it's unexplained phenomena happening daily around the globe, we're talking about it. Exploring the unexplained, challenging the conventional, and diving deep into the shadows that lurk just beyond our perception. Come join the transmission on the United Public Radio Network. Once you come, you'll never be the same.
Meet Daniel Knight, a psychologist with an extraordinary gift to absorb and heal the deepest wounds of the mind. In the heart of a chilling investigation, every secret unraveled binds him closer to darkness. But as he delves into the psyche of a killer, his own demons emerge. Caught in a battle within and against an evil that seeks to exploit his powers, where the line between savior and victim blurs. Dare to heal the wounds of the mind. Healer. Read it today.
Do you want to reach millions with your product or service? Are you looking to connect with a diverse, intelligent, and engaged audience? Then look no further. Beyond the Radar radio show is your golden ticket to achieving just that. Our listeners are curious, open-minded, and always eager to learn. They value quality, authenticity, and innovation, just like your brand. With Beyond the Radar, your advertisement will be heard by millions of dedicated listeners. Our show covers a wide range of topics, attracting a diverse audience that could be your next loyal customers. So why wait? Take your brand to Beyond the Radar and into the hearts and minds of millions. Advertise with us. Let's explore the extraordinary together. Beyond the Radar radio show, where your brand meets a world of curious minds. Contact us today for advertising opportunities at www.beyondtheradarnews.com and fill out our contact form. We hope to talk to you soon.
Samantha survives a tragic accident thanks to Lucian, an enigmatic being. Her newfound abilities catch the attention of a secretive government agency. Drawn to Lucian despite the danger, Samantha is unaware of his true identity. She teams up with Lucian's brothers in a daring mission to rescue him. Accused unfairly, Lucian seeks refuge on his distant homeworld. Can Samantha prove Lucian's innocence and save their forbidden love? From the Sky by J.E. Nicasio. Available now. Get your copy on Amazon and BNN.
Have you ever looked up at the night sky and wondered what lies beyond? Have you ever felt a sense of curiosity about mysterious lights darting across the sky? If so, my UFO 101 Unveiling the Unknown course is just for you. This course is a comprehensive introduction into the fascinating world of unidentified flying objects and extraterrestrial life. It is designed for beginners, so no prior knowledge is required. I am your instructor, Tom. I am an author, podcast host, and seasoned researcher in the field ready to debunk common myths and misconceptions. So are you ready to embark on an exciting journey to unravel the secrets of the universe? Join us at UFO 101 Unveiling the Unknown, and let's explore the unknown together. Don't let this free opportunity fly away. Enroll now and start your journey into the intriguing world of UFOs and extraterrestrial life.
Welcome back, everyone. 105.3 on the Gulf Coast, 107.7 FM in New Orleans. Of course, everybody watching on the Facebook and YouTube pages of UPRN and Beyond the Radar and Roku TV. So, as many of you know, we've been doing this Summer of Species here on Beyond the Radar, and the species we're talking about today of extraterrestrial is the Men in Black. Now, some of you might pause and say, oh, what do they mean, the Men in Black? Well, I'm talking about the specific thought that these creatures, I guess you can call them, are not our own people trying to silence. Rather, they're from a galactic or extraterrestrial force that would like to silence people talking about UFOs. So, if I could just give a quick physical description of them. Men in Black are male, always, with a height of 6 foot. They have flawless skin tones, some light, others tanner, which suggests a synthetic or cloned human. Some say their skin tone is pasty white, like a cadaver. Their short, thick, black hair is slicked back. Their eyes are either black or blue and appear Caucasian or Japanese in shape. Some say the shape of their eyes are big and oval. They are void of emotion and speak like simpletons. When walking together in a group, they step in unison with military-like precision. They wear black suits and ties with a white pressed shirt. Most wear a black fedora hat, dark sunglasses to conceal their strange-looking eyes. They also do not appear to be able to think for themselves. MIB use intimidation and fear to silence UFO abductees and witnesses from telling their story in the media. Their purpose is to shut down those getting too close to the truth about UFOs and their occupants. The lives of their loved ones are also threatened. The Men in Black may be part of a covert government agency that is deployed when a national security is compromised. For instance, if a witness spots one of our own secret advanced crafts in the sky, or an otherworldly racist craft, or has extraterrestrial contact. Some Men in Black theorists believe that the Men in Black came from the 4602D Air Intelligence Service Squadron, a top secret unit whose duties were to locate and recover and deliver downed space vehicles. It is also theorized that they joined forces with Project Blue Book and wrote flying saucer/UFO reports. It would have been in their best interest to silence witnesses about what they saw. An early MIB case was that of a 32-year-old Albert Bender. In 1953, he was visited by 3 Men in Black. They laid down the law, and he was to cease his UFO work, stop publishing his journal, The Space Review, and close his group, the International Flying Saucer Bureau. When the MIBs departed, they left a yellow fog in his attic that smelled something like sulfur. Their presence and the sulfur terrified him. He later stated that one time he felt suddenly ill and sleepy while working in his office. He lay down on the sofa and then saw 3 MIB walk through his walls. They had shiny eyes. They spoke telepathically to him. He came to the assumption that they were not of this earth and were frightening him into suppression of the benevolent beings in the universe that were there to help mankind. Bender was the first to call them the Men in Black. His story is detailed in the book Flying Saucers and the Three Men, co-written by Gary Barker. Some say the Men in Black are created to control and be controlled by the Draconians, to silence witnesses, to keep the world in the dark about who the malevolent Draconians are. Or they are the military Draconians and the Greys working together, and they want their secret kept hidden from the public. Another theory is that the Men in Black started out as alien men or clones, and then the shadow government stole the idea and continued harassing UFO witnesses with their own mirrored version of the Men in Black. Or did the government join alien forces when they began working together in underground bases on Earth? Others believed that the Illuminati created and controlled the MIB. In this scenario, the Men in Black could be incarnate malevolent Orions, created clones, or negative Orion aliens, or perhaps all three. Some Men in Black have disappeared before witnesses' eyes. If they are clones, their controllers would have advanced technology and thus would be able to teleport instantly or walk through walls. It is said that the Men in Black have telepathic abilities. If they are synthetic clones, they may be able to link their controllers. If this is the case, the controllers might be able to see through windows or eyes or voice activate with the Men in Black through their own speech. Paranormal theorists say the Men in Black possess paranormal auras that are fluorescent green or black. Furthermore to that, I have a video here that's going to talk about two different theories. So the first one I'm going to talk about, where we talked just a little bit about them being a part of the Air Force, and that's this.
The Men in Black, they work for the Air Force Special Operations Group out of Fort Belvoir, and they are the real Men in Black. These are special intelligence officers, specially trained. In fact, there's a special unit within the Air Force Intelligence Service. It's called Section K, and these men and women are sheep-dipped. And sheep-dipped means that they're military, they discharge them from the military, they make them civilians, and they bring them right back into their same job. The reason they do this is because they don't have to follow the military protocols, the dress and grooming standards, and they can operate freely, more freely, outside the military channels.
Tell us a little about their history and how they first appeared.
Back in the 1950s, when the Project Blue Book was occurring, there was investigations going on both overtly and covertly within the intelligence service. Most of the overt investigations were done by Air Force intelligence officers, one of them being my uncle, Edward Doty. And they would go out and ask questions, collecting overt information about UFO sightings. And then there was a secretive part of the Air Force Intelligence Service. The Air Force Intelligence Service had field operating units, and they started in the 50s, and they're even more prevalent even today.
What was their main agenda, and who did they actually, work for, or was it multiple three-letter agencies?
Their mission was to go out and collect the secret stuff, the secret information about UFO sightings or a UFO incident that occurred, to collect photographs or debris, or get statements from people, examine the area where a UFO was sighted or landed, collecting evidence that's on the ground. And this was all covertly. So in order to covertly collect, they had to have disguises. And these guys were experts in disguises. Some of them were acting as plumbers, air conditioning repair people, telephone repair people outside a normal chain. They could easily talk to people. For instance, one incident that happened in Watertown, New York. These MIBs came out as electricians because of an incident that happened west of the community of Watertown, New York, in upstate New York. And this was in the 60s. The Project Blue Book investigators had already been there and collected information. But the two people that actually saw this UFO and took pictures, they wouldn't share anything with the Air Force investigators. So the Air Force sent in these two men who were posing as electricians, but they were the Men in Black. And although they weren't dressed in black, They were acting as this covert operating team. And they were able to talk to these people in a normal, everyday contact and ask them, hey, did you see something last week? Was there some kind of a UFO incident? Well, these people opened up to these two. And they obtained the photographs that the Air Force wanted.
At what point in a mission do they actually show up?
They come later. They come after the initial investigative team arrives. Either Project Blue Book investigators, or after that, the investigators that arrived on scene to collect the evidence or interview the witnesses to this. And then, depending on what information the initial investigative team obtains, then the MIBs come in. Now, the story is that the MIBs are always there at every scene or every incident, and that's not true. These guys come in on legitimate sightings. They come in and get the real important stuff that the initial investigative team didn't get.
Very fascinating stuff right there in that clip. One thing that I wanted to bring to everyone's attention after that is John Keel, famous ufologist John Keel. Many know him from his stories with Ingrid Cole, Lanulos, his daughter, even wrote a book about it as well. He's had some run-ins with the MIB, and here's a particularly good story about him and his involvement in the Men in Black. Ufologist John Keel claimed to have had encounters with MIB. He maintained that these men were not secretive government officials. However, they were demonic supernaturals. Very interesting. They had dark skin or exotic facial features. And fellow ufologist Jerome Cole reports Men in Black represent experiences that do not seem to have occurred in the consciousness of reality, which is very, very true. Keel argued that some MIB encounters could be explained as entirely mundane events perpetrated through folklore. In his 1975 book, The Mothman Prophecies, he describes a late-night outing in 1967 where he was taken for an MIB while searching for a phone to call a tow truck. In his article, Gray Barker, my friend, the myth maker, John C. Sherwood, claimed that in the late 1960s, at age 18, he cooperated with Gray Barker and urged him to develop a hoax, which Barker subsequently published about what Barker called the Black Men, 3 mysterious UFO inhabitants who silenced Sherwood's pseudonym identity as Dr. Richard A. Pratt. Fascinating stuff with that. Furthermore, on top of it, there was a very interesting story that came out of, I want to say Buffalo, but I know it was upstate New York, about an MIB encounter, and it perhaps has the only evidence of the MIB being caught on surveillance footage. So I'm going to play that for you now.
Something really weird happened here yesterday, and you weren't here. He said, there's a couple guys in here looking for you. And I said, couple guys? What do you mean? And he said, well, this is really hard for me to say. He said, but there's a couple really strange-looking men that were here, and they kind of freaked everybody out, and they were asking questions about you. And, of course, now I'm getting a little bit nervous, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And he said, well, he goes, I don't know how to describe them except for extremely odd-looking. They were really, really tall. He said, and they were identical height. They were the exact same height. They were wearing the exact same clothes, and they had the exact same faces, like they were twins. And he said they were wearing black suits, black trench coats. They were wearing like the old-fashioned Federo hat. They had extremely, extremely pale skin. And he said they came in and they looked around a little bit and they asked for you. And I said, I'm sorry, he's actually not working today. And it seemed like they didn't believe me, so they started to walk around the hotel, and shortly after they went to the tour desk, and he goes, I got busy. I started to have to bring cars around and get luggage, and by the time I came back, they were gone. But he goes, they freaked me out, and I really wanted to tell you that there were these weird guys in here looking for you. So, of course, now I'm a little bit skeptical and I'm a little bit freaked out all at the same time. So the first thing I do is I run into my security office because I know how to work the security system, and I rewound the cameras, and sure enough, here comes two gentlemen through the front door looking exactly how he described. Then the next day, I was talking with my tour guide, and one of them asked to talk to me. She came in my office, the same as my bellman, and she said, I need to tell you about something that happened. I heard that you heard that there were some men looking for you. And I said, yes. And she said, they asked a few questions about you, and they said strange things that I didn't understand. And they were talking about government and conspiracies, and none of it made any sense to me. But she goes, they were very, very scary. And I said, well, why were they scary? And she said, they had no facial hair, none. She said they had no eyebrows, no eyelashes, nothing. Their hair looked like they had a wig on, like it was attached to their hat, like it wasn't even real. And she said, and the scariest thing, their eyes were so big and so blue that they almost hypnotized me a little bit. And she goes, and you're going to think I'm crazy when I tell you this, but I swear they knew what I was thinking. I swear. And I don't think I'm crazy, but I don't even know how they could do it, and I don't know why I'm even telling you this. She goes, so I started to think about things other than you, and I don't even know if it worked. And she started to cry, and she said one more thing before she left. She said, these men, they didn't blink. Not once did I see them blink.
Very fascinating stuff right there. And that's, of course, the report from upstate New York about the Men in Black who wanted to find the hotel manager there. But that video was the actual video of them walking through the lobby. And I've heard this story many times, and it led me to my own personal theory. My own personal theory is that they are of extraterrestrial intelligence designed to um, push down, stamp down, pat out, whatever you want to call it, um, extraterrestrial sightings, craft, UFO experiences, you name it. And one thing that leads me to believe that is because they're near human. And here's what I mean by near human. When I say near human, America, I mean if you glanced along at a room, everybody in there would look human. However, if you were to drill down and actually look at them, maybe their ears are a little lower on their head. Maybe their eyes are a little higher on their head. Maybe their face is not structured correctly. I've heard many reports of that, many reports that say they looked like a human, but there was just something off. Eyebrows being too high away from their eyes, maybe like up here. They didn't blink, as you heard in this story there. There's something always that gets them, and they're 95% human, but they're not. And it's because if you are not human and you're trying to pretend you're human, you will get all of the major things right. 2 arms, 2 legs, the torso, the head, hair, the clothing. You'll get all that right. But the devil's in the details, America, right? You won't get the proportions. You won't get where the ears are on the head. You won't get, if you're doing it from memory. It's almost like in school when they would show you an image and you would have to try to draw the image of what, whatever it might have been, whatever painting or whatever figure, whatever it might have been. That's exactly what they're doing. And they get it almost perfectly right, but they don't get it 100% right. And that's how they're able to tell. The telepathy, they are able to know what you're thinking. That one was extremely correct. And you also know when somebody's reading your mind. From everything I've gathered and the people I've talked to who have said UFOs and alien beings, I've talked to them telepathically. I knew he was telling, I knew she, I knew he, I knew they were talking to me telepathically. It's another thing that they're trying to cover up. These Men in Black, as much as they want to make you believe that they are from here, they are not. If you see them, just go along with it. Don't engage them. You aren't unsure about what they can do. There's another story out there where as a threat technique, they had a coin in their hand and the Men in Black figure creature dissolved it right in his hand in front of him. I've had another story where somebody else came and said, if you want your wife to still look as pretty as she does, you won't talk about this anymore. These are threatening. These are malevolent. Just go along with them. Do whatever they say. Do not engage them. They are not from this world, and they are not friendly. So that's it, America. Wonderful show. Thank you so much for listening, everybody, at 105.3 in the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. And we've also been airing on Roku TV. You can catch our archives there or subscribe to Beyond the Radar's podcast on Spotify for past shows. Thank you so much. We have a wonderful lineup for you later. Please call, text, email, anything you want. We're always here. Follow me at Tom Caway, TomCaaHue, or at Beyond the Radar News. Follow us, like us, give us a share. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for all of your time. Please wait for the next show. Thank you for tuning in. We love all of you. And think for yourself, America. We got this. Have a good night, everybody.